Excuse me! Taxi!
Come on, what are you doing? This is the 77 WABC minicast.
The IRS is going to go after the IRS.
Yeah, and John, you can't make this up. It's tax day. There are 5,800 IRS employees. They owe $50 million. So the IRS, I guess needs to go after the IRS.
Those, how many were they? 5,000?
Yeah, about a little over 5,000. Close to 6.
Those IRS of 5,000 employees of the IRS know when to
know when to fold them.
They better know now. Know when to walk away. Where's that song?
Yeah,
Kenny Rogers.
Rogers again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that's a good song.
Shame on them. They work for the IRS and they're not paying their own taxes.
And they go after everybody else. I mean, talk about a bunch of hypocrites. I mean, I think we got the song. I think it's coming. Wait, we're looking for it right now. But we have with us in studio, of course, Judge Richard Weinberg, and we have also Rudy Washington, former deputy mayor. And we have our favorite governor of the world. We love him.
Other than David Patterson.
Our favorite.
It's a tie.
It's a tie. We love them both. We love them both.
Well,
of
let me
course,
tell you
Governor
something. I
Pataki.
was questioned by somebody this morning, and I said they asked me about Governor Hochul, and I said that Governor Patterson and Governor Pataki are in our studios a lot, every week, and they both advise Governor Hochul on the power she has to maintain that budget. Governor, what do you say?
Absolutely. The powers of the governor are enormous. And for things like, the no bail rule, things like that, she could have changed them in the budget and required the legislature to do it. Right now they're having a budget fight. The budget is delayed. That doesn't bother me at all. It's not a question of whether or not it's April 1st or April 30th. It's a question of whether or not it's a good budget. And I fear we're heading towards a bad budget.
A reporter that called me today, I think it might have been the New York Post, and they asked me about the pay-to-tear law, and I said, look, I've talked to Paul Zuber up in New York State, represents 3,000 merchants upstate, and Steve Fulop, that replaced Kathy Wild in the partnership. Right. And look, New Yorkers don't want to pay more taxes. Let's not lose. Yeah. By the way, you know what else I said to them? New York City and New York State has 500,000 employees. If the people that pay the taxes move out, you know who loses? Those 500,000 employees lose because it's going to start winding itself down. And guess what? These people, the employees, 500,000 employees are going to lose their jobs.
Absolutely, John. And then let me just change what you said a little bit. New Yorkers don't want higher taxes. New Yorkers want lower taxes. Our taxes are too high. They're among, not the...
You have to say it differently. Too damn high!
I was going to say, I recognize that one. I recognize it. By the way,
I've heard that.
By the way, let's play a little bit of Kenny Rogers since we got him.
Know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run.
Rudy, you love that song. You know all the words.
That song.
Yeah. Rudy knows every single word.
You know what I was going to say to the governor was like last year, she gave them the raise and got nothing for it.
Nothing.
No, that's not true. She got screwed on the chief judge nomination.
Wait.
Oh, right. I forgot about
Wait.
Right.
She trusted them.
There's the mistake.
As Reagan said, trust but verify, which means you get what you want before you give them what they're asking for.
Yeah, exactly. That's the art of the deal.
We just want what's best for our city, and we want what's best for our state.
Absolutely.
And that's it. I mean,
you know something else, Governor? I think it's a mistake for her to fund 2,000 seats for Mayor Mandami for the early childhood, because now, once you give that program, you can't take it back.
That's exactly right.
And just adding to the budget.
Absolutely.
Opens the can of worms.
It opens the can of worms.
Yeah. But, you Democrats and you Republicans, you have to have a heart sometimes.
A heart.
Where's the other song? You gotta give a little. No, you gotta give a little.
Yeah, I guess.
It's heartless. It's heartless to borrow money you don't have, to pay off politicians and interest groups today at the expense of our
Governor,
kids and grandkids.
Governor,
Well said, Governor.
Well said, and you have a point.
Absolutely.
Governor, I said months ago, our barn rating is going to the cellar.
Yeah,
It's already going to the cellar for New York City.
Yeah, for New York City.
Yeah.
And what's the other thing that's going on today?
Well, the other thing, and I want to play this because when I heard this, you guys, if this doesn't send a warning to any boat that tries to enter the U.S. blockade that's not supposed to, that goes from Iranian ports, they're in
this
trouble.
This is the one from CENTCOM.
CENTCOM.
Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure, transiting to or from an Iranian port. Turn around and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance. Now.
And now is CENTCOM.
That was CENTCOM.
And what he said, and you try to pass that line, the whole United States Navy is going to come down on you.
And you know what I love, John, is also if you look at some of the numbers, they said there's 10,000 U.S. troops. There's I think it's about 1,000 aircraft that are in the theater, and there's 100 vessels just for the blockade. And so far they have a 100% record. Nobody has gone through that shouldn't go through. And essentially what's interesting, Governor Pataki, is that they're allowing every country but those tied to Iran. In fact, there was a Chinese vessel that went through because it was just for Chinese oil. That's the interesting thing. So they're saying we're unfettered access. We're allowing you to come through. We're the real unfettered waterways.
Exactly. It's slightly different because that Chinese ship didn't come from Iran.
Yes.
It came from the UAE or Bahrain or Qatar. And what we're saying is we're not blockading the straits. We're blockading the Iranian ports. Any ship that comes from an Iranian port is not going to be allowed through. And if I'm sitting there trying to rule Iran right now when your country has been devastated and realizing you're not going to have any income because their income depends on them shipping oil, you have to start thinking about changing your negotiating position, and I sure hope they do quickly.
It's called Squeeze Play. I think there's a
exactly
song on that. You know how much they're losing? I saw the number, you guys. $435 million a day is what they believe because of this blockage. If that doesn't squeeze them, that's about $13 billion a month.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would hope that they would take a look, and as irrational and crazy as they are, they don't want to see their entire country go bankrupt because they will get thrown out. You know, the Iranian people aren't big fans anyway. Right now, they're still holding on the power. But if their economy completely collapses, they're going to have even bigger trouble domestically than they do with the U.S.
Now, Governor, you were also involved with Hungary. You
Yes.
helped out Hungary a great deal, and we have a new prime minister in
That's
Hungary.
right. That's
Tell us
right.
about it.
Well, you know, it was an interesting election, and I was friends with the prior prime minister, but I really think he got too close to Putin. And you get close to Putin, and I think you're in trouble. And he was Putin's guy in Europe, and the Hungarian people resented that. And you know what really moved me is when the election results were clear, people in Budapest were cheering and chanting, "Russians go home." And that is an expression that was used.
Wait, I don't know if we've heard that. Give us some breaking news on that one.
Yeah, let's do a little breaking news because that's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Breaking news.
Okay.
WABC.
Governor, you said that the people in
Budapest.
Yes. were yelling and screaming, Russians go home.
After
That's right.
the election.
When they saw the election results, and that's what was the phrase in 1956 at the revolution when they stood up to the Soviet
I was going
Union.
to say my father chanted that quite a bit in World War II, that same phrase.
and to me, that just exposes how deeply the Hungarian people disliked the idea that the government was so close to Putin. And to me, that's kind of inspirational, but we'll see how it goes. I just hope that the new prime minister, breaks with Putin, helps the Ukrainian people and helps that war end quickly, as we hope the Iranian war ends very quickly.
I just got a text from my friend Fanny, who used to be have a Greek newspaper, and she says, "Is Israel going to invade Cyprus?" Where does she get this crap
Where
from?
does she get that from? Is she looking at Mad Magazine?
Yeah.
She gets that from Iranian intelligence.
Israel is there to help Cyprus. And don't forget, it's the Turks that moved in on northern Cyprus. Thanks to our friend, what was his name? See, out of mind, out of sight. The guy that passed away at 101. Kissinger.
Oh, Kissinger, Henry Kissinger. I knew that. Yes.
We all knew that, but we forgot momentarily.
Yeah, I remembered. I was ready. I
didn't know how he was involved with Cyprus.
Yeah,
I didn't
very
realize.
interesting.
Hey, all of us are over 70 except Rita is still over 49.
Thank you very much. Over 25, I would say. But anyway.